Welcome back to another episode of the Archetypes of Destiny. And I'm Dr. Lahab Al-Samarrai, and with me today, as always, Christy Foster is here with us. Christy, how are you doing today?
Good morning. It's morning today here in Salt Lake City. I'm great, actually.
It is morning.
It is morning in my part of the world. Yeah, doing well today. Thank you.
It's fantastic. So we've done 2 episodes on spellcasting, and the response has been overwhelming. So we will do one more episode on spellcasting. So this is our 3rd episode. And what we thought we'd share with you today is how you formulate a spell and how you deliver a spell and why the delivery is important. So you could just read a spell, but the delivery, the intention behind it is really important. But Christy knows a lot more about this stuff, so she will talk about this. So Christy, what do you think of our 3rd spellcasting episode?
Well, I think it's perfect timing that we have today. Spring equinox was on Monday, and it's a 3-day window. And so spring equinox is the time of the year where spring is coming. And these days are so important, like the spring equinox and the winter solstice. They're days that we slow down and get into the rhythms of the earth. We live in such a busy world and a chaotic world that I think a lot of times it's so easy to forget about slowing down and coming back to connection. And with the equinox, it's the perfect time to set intention. And we're using the word spell. Remember, a spell is made up of words. And the intention behind it is really important. You can think of a plant that's growing. We put a plant into the mother, which is the earth. We call it Mother Earth, and it goes into the dark. And in the springtime, it gets water, it gets sunlight, and that little plant starts to grow. It's the same thing with an intentional spell. It's very important to slow down in this process. It's not a quick thing, because the whole idea is to create the space around the intention. And so what I would suggest, if this is something that sounds good to you, is to light a candle. A candle invites in light, and that's a symbol, light. And then really come into a space where you're unplugged from your phone, unplugged from noise, unplugged from anything that is distracting, so you can center yourself and connect back to the mother, which is Mother Earth. It's good to go outside sometimes to do this. I think it's actually really great to go outside and check in with your own rhythms, because regardless of what we do, the earth has rhythms moving all the time. And can we connect to the rhythm of the earth? Can we connect back to slowing down and into the seasons, which they used to do? We don't do it anymore because we're too busy or distracted. And I think that's really where magic happens, is when we unplug from the busy, from the masculine energy, and step into the feminine energy. The feminine energy is all about receiving and slowing down and checking in with self. Masculine is thinking and doing and making decisions. So it's really swinging that pendulum to the other side and setting an intention. And in my world, in the body, what I see so much, the right side is our masculine energy in the body, the left is the feminine. And so if we're so busy and working and in that fast moving pace, a lot of times you'll see tension more so on the right shoulder, and the shoulder actually starts to come up because that energy is moving too fast and too much. And so I will have clients slow down into the equinox, like where we're at, and really notice your body as well before you create the intention or the spell, because everything needs to slow down so you can be present. So I'm going to read a spell this morning, and then we'll talk about it as an example. Okay. At the crossroads, the end of a long journey, I am no longer seduced by the past, nor am I fooled by the hollow promises of the well-lit path. It is the deepest darkness that I seek, guided only by distant torchlight. The mistress of souls, my only companion. Each step has been my own. I am here to reclaim what is mine. Pieces of me that found refuge in her dark womb. After the cruelty and violence of those who preyed on my weakness, they are dead to me now, slain by my wheel to heal. How her wheel has turned. Now I keep my own keys. I have returned home. Into the welcoming darkness I tread, the very heart of Hecate's realm. And that comes from a book called Entering Hecate's Cave by Cindy Brannon. So
that's quite beautiful.
The language of the spell. Yes, it is a beautiful.
It's quite beautiful spell. Yeah, timely spell for the equinox.
It is.
For creation of healing, of change, of transformation.
Yeah.
These are the kind of the tenets of what we state over and over again in almost every episode. And it's the healing, it's the ability of healing that those things become dead to me. Not living, presiding, occupying, haunting me.
Yes. Ghosts of the past.
Yes. Tell us about the ghosts of the past, Christy.
Well, in the beginning of this, she's talking about at the crossroads. And that's very symbolic in that we all come to a point eventually that we're at a crossroads. And I would say the crossroads that we're speaking about here with healing is crossroads feeling at some to lay past. Choose to heal and let go of something and work through issues that have been holding you. Those ghosts of the past, the things that you might be dreaming about, the voices in your head about what happened in the past. So this crossroads at the spring equinox, we're all here. We're all in the same time. What is it that you are ready to lay down at the crossroads? Because it's within ourselves that we're laying that down. We can choose to stay in the past, or we can choose to begin to take a new step. But it's conscious. The step is conscious, which is really important to understand. And it doesn't mean that it happens like that. You step into a different process. Instead of taking the same path, you're going to open up to a new way. That is the crossroads.
When we reach the crossroads, we're always being asked the same question over again, which is, which path are you going to take? So the crossroads are a reoccurring symbol in our existence as a human organism. We see the crossroads over and over again. We see it in streets that we're passing, and we see it in the years that are passing. We see it in the work that is passing. So the crossroads are a fascinating way of understanding your own flexibility, your own resiliency, how you bounce back. And I think this is all part of spring.
Yeah.
The formation of new life.
It is that. And in that, she talks about putting, let me just read this part.
Yeah.
At this crossroads, the end of a long journey, so we all come in this body, in this lifetime, we're on a journey. And at different points in our life, we come to these crossroads, the symbol that you're talking about. I am no longer seduced by the past. So that is the crossroads of letting go of parts of the past that bind us, which can be trauma. It can be also just stories that we tell ourselves that bind us and not keep us from having joy or connection. Now I am fooled by the hollow. I am I am no longer seduced by the past, nor am I fooled by the hollow promises of the well-lit path. It is the deepest darkness that I seek.
So the well-lit path would be what is the illusion in front of me. There is a illusion behind me that holds me, and there's illusion in front of me that is inviting me. So two different things. This is the crossroads. Something is pulling you back into the past, and something is pulling you into the future. And she's saying that I choose not to be seduced by either.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Keep going. Keep going. This is fascinating.
Okay. So it is the deepest darkness that I seek, guided only by distant torchlight. The mistress of souls, my only companion, each step has been my own. I am here to reclaim what is mine.
Well, she's also talking about being whole.
Yes.
And not being pieces, right? This is one thing that we emphasize throughout our podcast, is about this integration, this individuation, this wholeness process that needs to take place for healing to move forward. So we can move forward.
Yeah, it's like, I think when trauma happens to someone, and everyone has had some form of that, how I describe it is it's like shattered glass in their, literally in their tissue and also in their memory and the psyche. And this is about pulling those pieces back in the healing process.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't know. I think that's where we kind of get stuck, is we think we need to know how it's going to happen. And then we get stuck in our own little trap in our mind, because at the crossroads, it's really allowing the space to open for healing and inviting in a new way that we might not be able to see, but trusting that it can come to us and not let our minds be in charge all the time.
Well, at the crossroads, there's a letting go. And if you can't let go, if your mind controls the process, you can't let go.
No, because you want to control how it's done.
Yeah. And so in the process, there's a part that's called letting go that has nothing to do with thinking. This is a trust exercise that things are going to go, that are going to work out for you.
Yeah.
And the trust exercise is that you go with it. You don't question it. You don't overthink it. You don't, because anything you do, I think you talked about this earlier, it's about intention.
Yes.
Anything you do, you basically put a spell on it. So the spell is your intention of the way you're going to move forward. That's why letting go is the best path. Because the intention is to be free. The intention is not to control.
Yeah.
Anytime the intention is to control, it's out of fear.
Yes, because what I hear from different people around this is, I'm afraid of the unknown. I am okay with what's happening now, even though it's not pleasant, but I'm more scared of what might happen. And it is a practice of trust.
Yeah.
In whatever that is for you, because everyone has a different belief system. But I would say the bigger piece of this is trusting your own self and learning to trust yourself. And I think the only way that we can do that is to come into stillness. Because our guide is our heart. And when we're paying attention to everything outside of us, I think that's what brings in more fear of the unknown, because we're fed so much of what might happen. And what if we could reconnect back to ourselves and back to the mother, which is the earth, and allow ourselves to be held in that space? And what I tell clients is, when they start feeling the looping or noticing the looping in their head, to really notice their body, go outside and feel their feet on the earth. Once again, the mother, the divine feminine, and feel your body instead of going in your head. And practice saying, I trust and I surrender. When the languaging of I let go of how this is going to happen. We have to make room for things to come in. And if we can stay conscious of our thought process and what we say to ourselves, it really creates an intentional opening for things to come into us, and new ideas, new opportunities, as we consciously let go of how it's going to be done and notice our controlling tendencies as humans, and restate, I let go of the how, I trust, I surrender.
I think it's beautiful to say we have to give space to let things come in. I think it's beautifully said. Because we do, right? Because growth does not occur. This is what the spring equinox brings, is room for new growth, room for change, room for a new path, room to let go of your pain and misery for healing and wellness.
Yeah.
There's room in that. There's room for you not to be constantly questioning what, how, and who you are. And that's part of letting go.
Yeah.
Because basically you're arguing what you thought you heard, what you thought somebody was talking about you, or what you perceived as something that you did, or who you did, or why you did. And so you're always arguing with yourself about who you are and why you are and what you did and who and what was done to you. And the argument goes round and round and round, and there's no movement forward.
No.
You're stuck. Yeah. The spell as an intention, the spell also as creation. So first part is the intention. Tell us about the intention. What do we mean when we say intention?
Intention would be, what is it you would like to bring into your life? What is it you would like to experience that you're not experiencing now?
Okay.
So for example, if you would like to bring in more, people use the word peace a lot. And I would ask you, what exactly does peace mean to you? Because it's different to what it means to me than what it means to you.
Yeah.
So to ask yourself, because that's too big, that's way too big. If you say, I just want peace, what would that look like? So for example, well, I would really like to have more rest. That would bring me, I would feel more peaceful if I wasn't so busy. That would be an intention. And it isn't just intellectual. So the intention is, I would love to have more peace/rest, to write that down and notice the parts of you that keep you so busy, because you have to still participate within the intention. You don't just write it down and place it in the earth and think it's just going to happen. It's intentional for you to create space, once again, for rest. So a small example, and this is very tangible, when you go outside or to lie down, to not have your phone with you or near you so you can hear it and check it. Because it's really coming back into center again and again without being pulled out. And our phones pull us out again and again. And I do think we, and I include myself in this, become addicted to that pulling out and being amazed and look at other things that are more exciting than what's happening in your own life. So in this intentional process, for you to take, sometimes it's only, if you only have 5 minutes that you're willing to give to this intention, give it the full 5 minutes. And that's very difficult for people who that isn't part of what their regular practice is. Because what I will hear is, I don't like to do that because I'm uncomfortable. I don't like to do that. I get anxious and antsy. And I would say, yes, that's the beautiful part of alchemy, is that uncomfortableness and the space where you actually notice how you're feeling versus distracting and pulling out of yourself because you don't like what you're feeling. Really important part of this process of intentionality of change. If you don't know what you're changing to find peace, it's really not going to happen. It's allowing yourself to be in that space of uncomfortableness. So there's an emptiness that can be created for that change.
This requires a level of honesty with yourself.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's what I think you keep pointing at. And this needs to be an honest process. You can't just pretend process. It's not a pretend process.
Doesn't work otherwise.
Exactly.
Because it's only between you.
Yeah. It's
only you.
Yeah.
And in this case, right, we're giving it to the earth. The reality is the earth.
Yeah.
And sense of am I to take that 5 minutes and be with myself and really surrender the mind and keep coming back into the breath. And even if you just notice your breath, sometimes that's a lot for people who aren't used to doing that. But this is part of the creation. Time and space have to be present for creation.
So the reason we gave a spell, the reason we read a spell to you was to help you understand the construction of the story, because the intention is behind whatever the story that needs to be created. So the spell helps us create the story. The more honest you are with yourself, the stronger the spell will be.
Yes. Yes.
If there is doubt, if there's reluctance, if there is maybe, if there is uncertainty, then you dissolve the spell. Does not work.
Well, and that's the practice, Dr. Lahab. It's the practice of noticing when self-doubt comes in.
Yes.
Notice when you say this is just stupid, it's not going to work. Right. Also, that's a different spell.
Yes.
That we're casting.
Yeah. This is a spell of self-doubt.
Yes.
Anytime you say that's stupid and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or I'm stupid and that's never going to work. The more you say that, the more that becomes the reality.
Yes.
Yes.
And so the practice in capital letters is a literal thing.
Yeah.
The practice is coming into empty space.
Yeah.
Practice is coming into your own body, for that is the intelligence.
Yeah.
Is our body, and noticing versus being distracted. And we will be distracted. And then you come back to noticing. That's the practice. Like going to the gym and lifting weights. You're not going to be able to lift a 50-pound dumbbell if you never lift.
Yeah.
And this is no different.
Yeah.
It's a practice that I think as human beings really creates a balance.
Yeah.
We're checking in versus outside of us. And it's difficult if you've never done it.
Yeah.
And so if you notice self-doubt, just all the things you named, that's the beautiful piece of this spell, is noticing what's been created to change what's been created.
Yeah. Yeah. Change. Transformation. Healing. Moving forward. Letting go. Letting go of the dead. They're gone. The corpses of the past. Letting go. Letting go is an easy word, but it's a difficult act.
Yeah.
So I could say it anytime to people, let go. But the act of letting go means that you give up control.
Mm-hmm. And you let go of the identity of the wound.
That's right. You give up control over I am in pain.
Yes, and or someone, pain and blame. Someone did this to me. This is why I am where I'm at.
Yeah. Somebody causes pain to me and therefore I can't change.
Yes.
I am constantly in pain.
Yes. And intellectually, it's very easy to wrap your brain around that. The difficult part is the letting go, because that's the practice of noticing when you go back into the story of they did this to me, for example. At what point at the crossroads are you going to say, and I'm going to change my path from being bound to that person in the past and let them go? That's the practice, though, because it will come in.
Bound to the person or act or incident or trauma or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I've seen in my life and people that have practiced this is, if you consciously choose to heal in whatever capacity that might be, people start coming into your life. You get referred to someone. Oh, I think this person can help you. That's what starts to happen, because you're willing to see it a different way. And that's where magic happens. We use that term all the time. It just magically appeared. It came out of nowhere. Right? That's the letting go of
solutions come to you.
Absolutely.
Life moves in a different direction. Suddenly every doors open up.
Yes.
Opportunities come around. There's less fear.
Mm-hmm.
There's more creation.
Yes.
And that's because you were able to let go. Because when you hold on to something that is painful, you're experiencing the pain over and over again. And therefore, all you could think about is the pain.
Yes, and it's consuming. It's all consuming.
Yeah. The angrier you get, the more you burn.
That's a very good example. And we also use that language. Language is the key. If you hear anything from us today, language is the key of what's going on in here.
Always.
Because when we say, I think my best example of this is I had a woman come in once with really severe heartburn. And so as we started to talk, and she had hot flashes, which I certainly have had those. The language was, I'm so pissed off, I'm burning up inside about another piece. But her language and was creating as well what was happening in her digestive system. I'm so angry, I'm boiling mad. That the body is responding to the memory and also to the languaging.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to really be clear on is, what are you telling yourself about the past to keep recreating that somatic response in your body?
Well, anytime you hold on to any sort of pain over long periods of time, it will create dysfunction within the body. It will create severe dysfunction within the body. And that's why the relief of pain, the release of that pain, is what helps you, because now the body is free of it, because it's being held within the body. So your prison, your psychological prison, is holding someone, you, inside your body as a prisoner.
Yes.
So as you move around, that part of you in the body becomes painful, because that part is not moving. That part is holding, because you're holding.
Yeah. And so part of this intentional spell that we're talking about is, I tell clients all the time, just to begin to write down what they're angry about without a filter, because no one's going to read your paper. And to take the paper and to burn it when you're finished, because you're taking one element and changing it to another. And once again, we're connecting back to the mother. We're creating fire, preferably to do it outside. So that change within the paper, changing to ash and going back up into the air, you're also asking for that to be taken so you can let go of it. It's a literal process. And then sitting with that in the quiet and the emptiness, making room for something else to come in.
The biggest part, I think, the biggest barrier is the person themselves.
That is the barrier. Yeah.
And the belief
around it.
It's protecting the wound. I got hurt. So my arm got hurt. So I don't want anybody to touch it. That means nobody can fix it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always going to hurt. Oh, don't touch it. It's always going to hurt. That's my hurt. I'm not going to fix it. So, like everything else, our thoughts can be like, oh, I don't think about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't think about that.
And that's exactly what we're talking about in the spell that she's talking about the term. Let me just reread this part about going into the darkness. Let's see. The end of a long journey. I'm no longer seduced by the past. Now I am fooled by the hollow promise, nor am I fooled by the hollow promises of the well-lit path. It is the deepest darkness that I seek, which is the places that we hide those wounds that we cannot see and sometimes we are blind to, guided only by distant torchlight. Each step has been my own. I am here to reclaim what is mine, which is healing. Pieces of me that found refuge in her dark womb, which is the mother, which is the earth. That's what we're talking about there. After the cruelty and violence, whatever the wound is, of those who preyed on my weakness, they are dead to me now, slain by my will to heal. How her wheel has turned. Now I keep my own keys. I have returned home, which is self.
Ooh.
Into the welcoming darkness I tread, which is the mother's womb.
Yeah.
The very heart of Hecate's realm is the end of it.
Yeah. It's quite beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Healing is the will to change. It's the will to be, it's basically getting back to nature. Nature changes. That's how it works.
Connecting back to where we came from.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the darkness, that's where the change becomes, because in the darkness, I repeat to myself, I am not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be my torchlight out of the darkness. A torchlight. So a torchlight, something that it's a flickering of light. It's not a sunlight. It's a flickering of light. So you have a vision. You could see something, but you can't see everything. But that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Is the ability to see something different.
Yes.
Something new, something healing, something changing. And that's why Jungian advanced motor processing is transformative, because it connects those pieces together. It helps you let go.
Yeah. And it takes the willingness, like just what we're talking about, the willingness to set intention to change.
Yes.
That little piece matters. Even though I don't know how, even though it scares the hell out of me, I'm willing to make a shift. That's when the world starts turning with you.
Yes.
It's like it's saying, okay, great. She's ready. She's finally ready. And
yes,
that small amount of space for change.
Yeah. I like how you said that that's how the world turns with you. It's actually, that's how you end up turning with the world.
Yes. Yeah.
But
going
yes,
back into the rhythms.
But yes, you are correct. The world finally turns with you.
Yeah.
Because it feels like the world's been turning against you.
Yes. And don't we hear that language as well?
All the time.
Everything's against me. Everyone's against me.
Everybody hates me.
At what point do we surrender that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a huge shield, right?
Yeah.
That protects me from everybody.
Yes.
Because that means I don't have to care about anybody. Everybody's against me.
Mm-hmm.
That means I exclude everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very lonely space. Very destructive space, because I am alone now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, that's our spell. So in our third episode, we put a spell on all of you to feel better, to heal, to change, to embrace spring and embrace change.
Yeah.
Embrace healing and embrace wellness. And with that, I am Dr. Lahab Al-Samarrai. This is Christy Foster. We are the Archetypes of Destiny. And we'll be back next week. Christy, any thoughts?
Yeah, I really encourage you to take a step of find your courage and try something new. And try something that we have talked about so your life can maybe open up a little bit more. There is hope out there. There is a torchlight, and we can only see it when we go back in.
We didn't plug ourselves.
Plug ourselves.
Yeah, we are together for a book signing event on April 1st.
Yeah, in Seattle.
In Seattle. Please join us. We would love to see you, talk to you. If you're a fan of the podcast, come out and see us. We're going to be together. We're going to be signing some books. We're going to be having some wine, some hors d'oeuvres. So April 1st, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you just RSVP me at drlahab@gmail.com. And I will give you the specifics. Okay. Have a good week, and we will see you very, very soon.